120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, once again, it is indeed time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J.C. McCauley, along with the champions of talk this morning, talk champion, Cleo Duke-Wright in the house. Good morning, Miss Cleo. How you doing?
Morning. I'm doing pretty well this morning.
How was your weekend? Oh, how was your week?
My week was busy, as usual, but it was a good week. I did a lot of running around and a lot of, going out. So it was pretty good. Took my girlfriend out to lunch on Sunday. When you have a friend that's a little down, that's the first thing I think about is, let me go get that girl and take her out so she can sprout off whatever she wants to talk about, So that's what I did on Sunday. I wish I could think of something else to do with friends, but that's all I could think about is going out. I didn't want to go out to eat, so I'm thinking about all the things that I could do, which was hardly nothing that I could think about. Thought about what would she like to do. I said, because I wasn't especially hungry, and I kept saying, I said, she's going to get in this car and saying, where are we going to eat? And I said, what could I think of? And that was exactly what happened. So I took her to Weathersfield.
So But you ate. You went out to eat though.
I went out to, of course, I went out to eat, and a lot of conversation for hours. And
So where did you go?
we went to the buffet in Wethersfield. Some people hate it, and some people love it. You know,
The old
Down.
Country or hometown?
no, the buffet in Wethersfield. It's next to Price Right in Wethersfield with a
Oh,
motor
you're
vehicle
just right over the line.
right over the line. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Where Popeyes.
yeah. Where Popeyes, the new Popeyes.
The new
is.
Popeyes.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
across the street from Dunkin'
Yeah,
and the Chinese restaurant, the pawn shop,
right.
right
That-
there on that stretch.
Right there in that stretch,
Yeah.
that's where Willie loves to go.
Mm-hmm. They have a buffet there?
Yeah.
I've never been in the buffet. I like buffet. I lament the closure of hometown.
Hometown was more than a buffet. Hometown was where you meet your friends.
Oh my
and,
goodness! I used to
and
love
some people, I can remember. I think Doc Hurley ate every meal at Hometown buffet. You know.
You now that you knew half the people. Absolutely,
yes, you knew the
half
people.
the
And
people.
come on Sunday, and people came after church, and I was really sad when that closed, when the Hometown buffet closed.
Yeah, hometown became old country, or did old country become a hometown?
I don't know which.
The
that
one
is.
down in Wethersfield. I used to take my kids. Those ones.
Oh,
When we would go after school all the time. 7. Jessica and Brendan. I would take them to hometown, and we would go there after school. I would take them all the time, always, because I used to love to go.
It was a kind of an atmosphere. It was kind of a family atmosphere, and there were regulars, and the wait staff did not change all that much. So you were welcomed in when you came in, and I haven't seen you in a long time, and all of that stuff. It's not like that in Wethersfield. Well, they're Asian people, and they greet us, and they greet their regulars, and maybe their regulars have a special table they want if they can get it. You know, we used to have a special table in Wethersfield because he was in a wheelchair, so they run to the door and help us and everything. So it is kind of nice, but it's not a hometown. It's not a hometown.
I used to like hometown.
No, I think Manchester was the last one.
Yeah. Now I don't know why the Manchester hometown. I didn't like that one.
You didn't like the Manchester.
Food was too exposed to people, for coughing and stuff.
Yeah.
That
Well,
mess up your
I don't like little children going up to the buffet. because
Right. See,
they're
they
not
pick.
tall enough to have that shield.
Right.
I saw it. That
Breathing
bothers-
under the shield,
Yeah.
using their hands.
So I don't like that particularly, but I like this one, and my friends used to like it, but now they hate it. Some of my grandchildren don't go there, but hey, I go there. They closed for a while, just like Kane Street. They closed for a while, then they opened.
Oh, is Kane Street open again?
No, Kane Street went to Manchester, and
Oh, because
yeah.
Kane Street was a hometown, wasn't it at first?
No.
And then it became
oh yeah, it was what is it?
old country or hometown. So I can't remember. But they used to, Kane Street wasn't bad, but then it became like Oriental, like Chinese food.
Yeah. But now they're in Manchester. They're in there. It's really good. It's really nice. I went there one time, but they're more expensive. Than, the one in Wethersfield is not as expensive as that one, but it doesn't have the variety. The
19 varieties of rice.
They don't have like the sushi bar and
Mm-hmm.
that, but they're very good, and they have vegan food. I get my tofu there and stuff like that. So it's good.
Yeah, vegan. What is this? It's another thing. Vegan and I can't remember what it is. My daughter always refers to it as she's not that girl. It's something like there's something I can't remember what it is. Yeah. Million Man March. I got my Million Man shirt on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That was
Brother,
one of my
Brother Lovejoy.
favorite times.
This is like one of my favorite shirts.
The Million Man
this.
March. See,
Yeah.
we should have never stopped celebrating, or I think that should have been a tradition. Not walking up Washington, but setting a date aside of atonement where we just stopped.
A Day of Atonement. Absolutely.
We just one day a week, one day a year, just stop. Don't go into any stores. Don't buy anything. Don't be home with family. And the day of the Million Man March, we were all home because we were all looking at the Million Man March.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was such an important day, and I thought it was gonna go on. For some reason I thought that we'll have that Day of Atonement every year where we just retreat into ourselves. Just retreat.
Well, you bring up.
But it didn't happen.
Well, it can still happen. There can be. We need to rebuild community.
We certainly do.
It's essential that we rebuild community because a community is. I say this all the time. It's not an original saying of mine, but I say it all the time. Self-sustaining, self-educating, and self-policing. Communities are self-policing, and the community polices itself, and then you have, sanctioned law enforcement officers who are servants of the community, who, have the power to arrest and detain. But the community is the one that needs to really do the policing.
Yes.
But that means you have to have a community. It has to be cohesive, and there has to be some leaders. We need leaders in our community.
Yeah.
We need leaders in the community, and
gosh,
who are supportive of one another, even if they don't agree with them. I think we have.
Are we so far away from that? You look at it, and I'm just thinking of the convention. Are we so far away from being together that we just spread ourselves out there to anybody who wants to just buy us or take advantage?
Well, I think this is one thing that happens when you have. Now, I don't mean this in a negative way, but when things are integrated, I'm not a separatist. I'm just saying that, when things are integrated, they no longer have a unique presence. It's like if you take a cup of sugar and put it in a quart of water, the sugar becomes integrated with water, it gets diffused, and then now it's one with the water. There's no longer a separate distinction. The water kind of still remains what it is. It's sweetened. Its composition changes slightly, but it doesn't stop being water. It absorbs everything else. And so I think we've lost our uniqueness because we have had such a desire to be integrated into a broader community. Other groups are not necessarily integrated into the community like that. So we and therefore your influence gets diffused.
But other groups come from somewhere else, and we only knew this. And, here we are over here. We knew this, and we want to get over there. We want to have a better life. And looking at something over the fence appears to be a better life, not necessarily a better life. And we found out that, at least I hope we found out that integration wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And maybe our communities, the way they were a little better than they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had respect for people.
Well, we live in our heads. Everyone takes up residence in their heads. You are your brain. I always tell people, you one brain per operator, you are your brain. So wherever we may have been, we are here now. So we have to live in the moment, because that's actually where we live. We live here in the now at this particular time. We don't live in the past. It's gone. And the future is not here. So we only live
But
in the moment.
you can't go back in the past. But you could take what you had, not do it in the same way, because that's gone. But what we had, we should be able to regain.
I don't know.
Respect
I think that's
for parents, respect for children, respect for our neighbors. That should be able to be regained in some way.
I think that if there is intention, that can be that has to be commanded by those that are here in the now, who are elders or leaders, by those who are younger or those who are looking for direction and leadership. A lot of people are looking for direction. They're looking for leadership, but they don't see it. And I think a lot of times what happens with elders is they talk about the past rather than demonstrating what needs to be done in the now. Sort of like teachers or educators who talk about the way things used to be. And that's a great discussion. But they can walk in any school and tell folk, look, I'm coming here to volunteer and get things back on course. They have the gravitas, they have the experience, they have everything that is necessary. They can go in there and have a master class on teaching. But they don't do that. They will talk about what it was like as they take note of the decline. So if people know better but won't do better, then it won't get better. And the only way it'll get better is if people who are here now step up to the plate. So we need a lot of folks to step up to the plate and say, stop the madness. And when the Stop the Madness crowd comes, things will change. We could absolutely have young people respecting older folks, but it'll only happen when older folks demand, either by speaking up or by their behavior and actions. We have them. I think the past is a template of what can be.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I don't know if that is. Brother Lovejoy says that they have the National Day of Atonement every year in October. The nation.
The nation does. Just the nation, not the.
But the people, anybody that wants to take part in that can.
I'd not heard about it because I sure would have been there.
Yeah. Well, you can get in touch with Brother Lovejoy. He'll give you the layout. They meet every Saturday over at 2550 Main Street, Muhammad's Mosque number 14.
Mm-hmm. They meet once a week.
They're active 24/7, but they meet once a week. Some time ago, Sundays at 11 o'clock. Sundays at 11 a.m. they meet. I remember some time ago. Were you on the panel when we did the State of Black Hartford?
I wasn't on the panel, but I was there.
Okay. We did a series of shows called The State of Black Hartford.
Yes.
And I thought about when we were developing the program, it was an issue of where to do the program. And we wanted to do it remotely in the community. And, black church folks was scared.
Because
of the nature of the program.
I'm sorry, you lost me here.
Because we were talking about the State of Black Hartford. And it was a very, it was hold no punches. And, because the State of Black Hartford in the context of Hartford being a plantation model, if you will. Plantation governance model. And so the Nation of Islam stepped up to the plate. Brother Lovejoy let us use the mosque as the place where we did the program. Yep.
Can't jeopardize my 501c3.
Right.
Can't jeopardize my 501c3.
Oh, no. No.
That's, oh, God.
Oh, no. Can't
They may
jeopardize the
snatch
501c3.
that. I may never get any
you
more
lose
funds
funding.
than-
Oh, no.
It's just like,
I don't know, Brother Stan. That might be controversial.
The president said, I won't give you any more funds because your people are not don't accept what are all those initials? LOGB people.
Oh, the LGBTQ plus AI.
So we're not gonna fund you anymore. And I thought of that. And my thing is, what you doing over there in those people's business if that's the way they feel, and that's what are you doing? Did they say they're gonna kill the people? They didn't say they were gonna kill the people. They just didn't accept the way of life, or I didn't get it. Why we were over there telling those people they couldn't do something that didn't affect us.
Well, people like to meddle in other folks' business.
And so I said, why is he doing that? What is the purpose of that? But I don't think they changed their minds, and the president said, we're going to take the funding away from you. Now, I could be wrong, but that's the way I understood it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think. You talk now, when you say president, you talking about president of the United States?
Yes.
Taking funding away from
Africa.
Oh. Okay. I know what you're talking about. You talked about the response of the president. I think it was the president of Kenya.
Saying, and President Biden saying, if you do that,
we'll take your funding. Well, the United States likes to meddle in everybody's business, and then people like to meddle in other people's business. I think one of the reasons why you have seen our community, going back to what you were talking about earlier, in terms of the respect, we have become afraid to speak up. To speak truth to power, if you will. We don't speak up anymore.
They'll zap you.
Well, so what? And then if you demonstrate fear and cowardness, no one is going to follow you. No one's going to respect you. So if the young folks see their elders and their leaders kowtow and be fearful, then they won't follow. They won't follow, and they won't look to those individuals for protection and for direction and for comfort. So you have to be fearless, because there's always going to be forces against you. And if you're bought and paid for, then money easily control you. and there's no end to the money. And they never give you, so they never make you whole enough to really step out. So they're scared. People are. They're scared. But the nation opened its doors, and they never back down. Stick and Stay will be right back. It's Morning Talk live.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
The smooth sound of the vibraphone under the direction of the maestro. Is it obvious that I could look at this forever?
Yes, Stan, it is.
All right. Okay, I had to get my composure back here. Let's see, what am I doing? Here we go. All right, Jay Hogarth. Oh, goodness. I love music. I love jazz, and I love watching jazz musicians execute their craft, particularly when they do it with perfection.
Because it comes from the inside and goes out. And you can see it in them.
A man on the piano. All right. I get chills just watching them. I get chills. It was just fantastic being in the studio.
You know, when I was director in Christian Ed at some churches, the organist would always say, you know, I can't play music like that. I gotta have my sheet music. I can't do what they do in black churches. You know, like the minister just puts his hand up and says, you know, play something, and he goes down and he just plays. and the minister's preaching or praying, and he just comes in with something prayerful. You know. And then they just go wild on the piano, and they're not looking at anything. And a lot of them can't even read music, but they could play that piano.
They can express themselves through the music and the notes.
Yes. But someone said, did you tell me that? No, I don't think it was you. That most of our spirituals and the black keys. They only played like the black keys for I wish I could play like that. You know, get up there and just Sam, come up here and give us something. And Sam just gets up there and does his thing, and no music, no anything. I think a lot of people in churches, musical people in churches, are really jealous of that. They said, I wish I could do that. I can't do that. I gotta have my music in front of me. It's like the recipes. Like, people laughing at me in my family and my extended family laugh at me because I use recipes when they don't use recipes. They say, what do you mean you use recipes? Just make it. What do you mean just make it? So I said to my grandma, I said, Grandma, teach me how to make the biscuits or something. And that's what she does. She puts so much. I said, how much baking soda do you need for this? And she pours it in her hand and says, this much. And I'm like, that much? You know, so she could feel the amount that she needed. She just put it in her hand like this, and this is enough. You know, and things that, so it's the same thing as cooking. So I met a lady. I think it was last week. Yes, I was going for some blood work, and the lady that was doing the blood work was talking about her children. They left home. They all have their own apartments, but they always come home to eat. And I said, they have that and they eat. Yes, she says, and my daughter, she uses this recipe. And she says, I like the recipes. I mean, she cooks all right, but she don't cook right.
She can't cook.
She can't cook. And so she tells me, this is a West Indian lady. She tells me, you put a little of this, a little of that, you taste it, and until it gets right, until it's just the right way. And she was telling me this because I gave her an order from my doctor for blood work, and she says, "Oh, I'm gonna have a heart attack." And I said, "What's the matter?" And she says,
Doctor.
He won't input anything in the computer. I gotta do this all from the beat, put it all in the computer. And then someone comes along and she says, oh, doctor, and then that's why and she had gone to him at one time, and she was a fairly heavy lady, and she was just saying that, he really gave it to me. He gave it to me, but I got to cook my food. She had to live her life. She says, I do moderation, but, my children won't eat anybody's food but mine.
Well, there is something special about food. I mean, the tongue is a palate. Like the eyes enjoy beautiful things that you can see. The tongue enjoys great things that you can taste. And an artist in the kitchen that prepares a meal.
She always tastes the food.
I have a secret recipe for biscuits.
Do you?
Red Lobster.
I love biscuits.
Red Lobster.
That's your. They have some very good biscuits.
Yeah. They have a mix,
Yes, they do. But
and you just pour the mix in a bowl, and you just add your water, and you just stir it and plop them on the paper and put them in the oven. But my secret then they have a little packet that you pour in, and you melt the butter. But I add an extra. It says a half a cup. I use 3/4 of a cup.
Of what? Water?
No. Butter.
Oh.
Well, yeah. You use a whole stick is a half a cup of butter.
Right.
Right. So I use 1.5. No. I use a 1/4 cup and then a 1/8 cup. Like I don't use the whole stick. I use just about, like if you cut the stick of butter in half, and then cut the half in half. I melt that and I put the pie, and then I soak the biscuits in butter. I just until the biscuits become soaked in butter, and then I add salt. I sprinkle them with salt. Butter-soaked, salted biscuits.
Your poor arteries. Oh my God.
I'm gonna make some after I get off the air, and then you have that with strawberry jelly and coffee. And you eat it in the bed. That way, when you pass out, you lay it down.
Man, that is so unhealthy, what you just said.
What is it if you eat all 10 of the biscuits?
How many biscuits do you eat?
I maybe eat 3. 3 biscuits.
I don't know where you get that mix.
You can get it at Walmart. I get it at Walmart. I buy 2 of everything. Always. It's a rule. We call it the rule of 2s. I always get 2 of everything. Then when I get down to 1,
you go out and get some more.
I go out and get 2 more. You always get 2. Always get 2. Because you never know if it'll be, But I'm having a hard time finding my coffee. The coffee I usually get, they don't carry anymore. And that's very aggravating. And Walmart's famous for that.
Just stopping things.
Yeah, they'll carry some. They're not quite as bad as Ocean State. If you buy anything from Ocean State, expect that it's not going to be there very long.
Oh, and I bought something from Ocean State just last week, and I said, why didn't I buy 2 of these? You know, I bought a vegetable bin, and to put my and it really works so nice. It really keeps the vegetables so nice. I said, why did I buy 2? So that's always thing. I got to go back and get another one. It's probably not there.
Yeah, it'll be gone. You know, the rule of 2 works with everything except new cars. But if you buy 2, even if you don't use it, you can give it away. You know, package it up and give it away at Christmas time. But always get 2. I always get 2. I try to always get 2 of everything. But Ocean State, if you buy, in fact, I have to go to Ocean State. I have to get some new glasses. So I get my glasses at Ocean State.
Oh, and you keep your glasses. I break those things all the time.
Yeah, but my eye, I can see, I have to wear these, and these glasses here are kind of doing all that kind of stuff. But I need these to see the screen, and if I don't wear them, I can't see the screens in front of me. And you have to squint.
No, I had to finally get some real glasses because my eyesight was really going. So I had to finally use a prescription that the doctor gave me. But it's usually only to read. But now I'm getting a little more distance.
Oh, I can see everything in a distance. I can see the teleprompters right in front of me. I can see the teleprompter. But I can't see the screen. So I have to have these to see the screen. But I look over the top of the glasses because I don't need them for anything further than arm's length. Everything to the end of my hand is out of focus. But 3 feet beyond my hand, I don't mean 3 feet, 3 inches beyond my fingertips, I can see fine. So I can't even hold something far away. It's still out of focus.
But you still need those glasses
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think I'm looking for the 2.5.
2.5.
No. The 175. These are 1.5.
1.5?
Yes. 1.5. The 2 is 2. Now I can't see this stuff with the 2. But this here is becoming a little bit, there's a little of a challenge.
Oh, you have good eyes. There's 1.5.
1.5. Well,
that's
that's in your reading range. I can't read. And then when I eat, I want to see. I'm not that I can't, if I can't see the food, I can't eat it. I have to look at my food. I have to see what I'm eating. I want to see the grains of salt on my food.
Well, that's one of the things that Willie was saying to me once. He says, but I can't see the food. I can't see the food. I can't see the... So we had to get him glasses, too, because he wouldn't eat. I never thought of that because I could always see my food. So I never thought it's uncomfortable to eat food you can't see.
You don't know what it is. What it is. You don't. There could be something on the food.
Yeah. I don't close my eyes and eat. I don't know. I guess that is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So we're lucky.
We're lucky. I went last week to see XY Eli.
See what?
XY Eli.
XY.
Well, yeah, XY Eli or Eli Van, but XY Eli, he's a blues. He plays blues.
Oh,
You don't know XY?
No.
Oh, XY Eli, he's a legend.
Oh, you went to the
at Black Eyed Sally's
Sally's, yeah.
last Friday.
Right.
Yeah,
And he was good, huh?
Excellent. Yeah, he was real good. But the food That could be dangerous going out to dinner like that.
What was it wrong with the food? Wasn't good.
It was very good. That's why it could be dangerous, because you could make that habitual. You'd be broke just going out to eat all the time.
Oh, I know. Oh, yes, you can. Because when I have even just going out to lunch and it's usually very affordable. You know, you have 2 people, 3 people. It's a lot. It's a lot going to McDonald's. I'm sorry.
I refuse. No.
It is just ridiculous going to McDonald's or Burger King, and they tell you, you know, you get a few things, $15, $20.
I got a large fry,
$4
Coke,
or something. $4
and a 4-piece.
For 8. So you go out there with some fries and a soda, and you're paying $8. I said I could go to the buffet, spend $2 more, and have everything I want to eat. So that's why we go to the buffet a lot, because
Well, if you want a good meal at a low price, you go to the senior center.
now that, well, not always. Sometimes their meals are a little too much salt in them, but that's true.
Now that's interesting, because now if you go to the North End Senior Center versus the South End Senior Center, there's a difference in the flavor and the taste of the food.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You ever eat at the South End Senior Center?
No.
There you go. North End Senior Center, it has a little kick, some flavor.
But the South End doesn't.
Yeah. But I'm actually quite surprised that they haven't, like, the Department of Health hasn't intervened to make sure that everybody's getting one of those super hyper healthy meals. You know, water crescent with a, spread of some sort of hummus or something.
We got some. We went to the Senior Center North End, and we got spicy chicken thing, and it was your ears. I didn't get it. Willie can't eat spicy food.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that's because I only get a meal for him now, because half time he doesn't eat his meal, and so I gotta help him. Mm-hmm. So I can't help him too much, right? Mm-hmm. So I get one meal, and I ate the spicy chicken, breaded spicy chicken, and it was even hot for me. Some seniors couldn't eat it at all. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't that it wasn't tasty, but it was hot. So I don't know if it's regimented, but the city is the one that hires. Don't they just hire that one company for all the senior centers in Hartford?
Oh, I'm unaware of that. Maybe it's been a while since I went to the senior center. You mean like they farmed it out?
Well, no, I don't know. They get their product, they get their food. I don't know if it's cooked or not cooked, but I
thought they were cooking the food at the senior center.
I don't think always. No. I don't think always.
I think food should be cooked at schools.
Well, ours used to be. The
school kitchen should be. The people should be in the kitchen preparing and cooking the food at the school. I don't like the idea of farming it out to some corporation and all that other. It's counterproductive, and it's not. It's just, I understand the rationale and the theory behind it, but it's counterproductive and it's counterintuitive.
Okay, and counterintuitive?
Counterintuitive. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. You could build. Now, a lot of times they don't want to build community, and they don't want to empower the people that are around the school and in the school. But you could hire community people, particularly some seniors,
to cook the food.
Who enjoy cooking and preparing a meal, by individuals who are going to appreciate the meal. You can You can change a person's whole attitude in life with a well-cooked meal. You can adjust the morale of individuals with a well-cooked meal.
So you have just given the reasons why they do not cook in schools.
That's why I'm saying, yeah.
That's why. Maybe that's
They don't
why
want
they don't cook in schools.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I could remember when they did cook in school.
Absolutely.
They cooked in my school.
They cooked in my school. My tech school, the students had a strike.
Why, they didn't like the food?
They didn't like the food. The food was horrible. This was at the Upper Bucks County Technical School. Upper Bucks County Technical School. Right, because I went to the Upper Bucks County School for Aviation Maintenance and Technology. The tech school had a program for aviation maintenance at the Upper Bucks County Technical School. So it would be like if Weaver, Hartford High, and Buckley High had a half-day program where the students would go to Connecticut Aerotech over at Brainerd Field and took a half-day course. Like they do going over to CPTV every once in a while. Well, that's a whole nother subject for another day. All right, but we went every day. Every day. It was a half day. And for 2 years. Junior and senior year, I went to the aviation maintenance program as in technical school. So it was a half day. The home school, Penridge Senior High School, I went to tech school. It was half day. You had morning or afternoon. So the tech school is where we had lunch. Had lunch at the tech school. And the students refused to eat we had it, but mostly upper class students did it. And they went on strike. So we, all the rest of the kids just followed in, because, you had to. There's always a ringleaders,
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader. That's back when there was a leader in the school. The school, he wasn't quite a school bully, but there were people in the school, other kids in the school who ran everything, and you get behind this or else you're going to get in trouble. You're going to come with us, Billy, or we're going to beat you up. Okay. Right. We're going to meet you in the hallway. Roll you down the steps. And so anyhow, the school had to fix lunch. Pennsylvania law, I don't know. But 2 weeks, they fired the entire lunch staff was fired. And they let the kids in culinary cook lunch. And man, people were coming from people were coming from off the street
to eat there?
To eat in the cafeteria. That's how good it was. I'm serious. That's how good it was.
You made a difference.
And the kids made a difference, and they changed the lunch program. Kids today have that kind of power. Adults have that kind of power. They just don't exercise it because they're so compliant. Go along to get along.
When did we lose that? When did we lose that?
Folks lost their mojo. They lost their spine. It's disgusting.
When did we do that? When did we lose?
When everyone trying to be politically correct, and silence is a weapon, and it's employed with strategic pinpoint accuracy in Hartford. So they use silence as a political weapon. So they get you to be quiet. And it just reverberates. You better not say nothing. Be quiet. You're going to lose what you got. Shh. You know.
Oh,
and then that's it. Now, next thing you know, everyone knows, everybody's, well, I was going to say something, but I don't want to be the one.
It was, I don't know if no one would say anything. I told you about, we had the picture of Jesus Christ and at his temptation and the devil. Jesus Christ was white and the devil was black. And I don't know if anybody else would have said anything. I just said, wait a minute.
Something wrong.
That is unacceptable. Because I figured, I didn't mind the picture, but if you're going to make Jesus white, make the devil white. If you're going to make him black, make them both black. You know what I'm saying? But you don't make one white and then one the devil. You just don't. I said, that's unacceptable to me. And I stood up in front of the whole church and said it. But I don't know if somebody else might have said it. I don't know that.
Well, you said it. You had the courage and the boldness and presence of mind to speak your mind.
I did tell him I loved him before I told him. Before that, I love you all,
but right.
This is not acceptable.
Right.
And I know you didn't mean it on purpose. I know you didn't mean to do anything. But the thing that surprised me was they said, look, I didn't even notice. They said, I didn't see that. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice it. And so it popped in my head. I'm saying, they didn't notice it? They didn't notice it? She didn't know. I never even saw it. I said, oh my God.
Well, that's I think that's an interesting point that's lost on a lot of people. They think that other folks know. They should know that that's offensive.
They didn't.
But they don't know. People don't know if they're it's incumbent upon the offended to say something. That's the best and most effective way to get people to understand that what they're doing is not acceptable. But if you don't speak up, they don't know. They think it's okay. And now once you tell them and then they refuse, now we got something we can work with.
Right. But they didn't. When I said it, they saw it. And they said, oh my gosh, I never saw that. I never saw that before, Cleo. And they apologized for it because now they could see it. And the person who chose the picture said, well, Cleo, I didn't see it. But what I saw in him and in his wife before that day, I saw I don't know what you would call it. You see a black angel or I have a picture of Jesus in colored, not black. He just had some color, and some statues and some black angels. And they said that the wife walked into my place and she looked around and she said, oh, look at that. Isn't that cute? And my son's looking at it and said, cute? Yeah. Yes. Isn't that cute? It's like, my God, she'd never seen anything like that before. That's the expression that she had on her face. And so this happened several months later down the line. So I was not surprised because they don't recognize their own racism.
It's hard.
They don't recognize that. They don't see that. They don't see it.
It's hard to see when you're not, It's hard to see. It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, didn't know it.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We got to get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We got to rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. You got to vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
Hi, my name is Marlon E. Starler Sr. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Holy Spirit Consumption. That's the name of this song. And you can feel the Spirit in the music. All right, welcome back. It's Morning Talk. J.C. McCauley, along with Cleo Duke-Wright. Welcome back. We're talking off air about selecting police chief. That is the role. That'll be that would be one of the duties of the incoming mayor. That's, of course, if the mayor decides to change the police chief, because there's no guarantee that will happen. I'm sure there are some people that think that the current chief is doing a good job.
Oh, really?
I'm sure of it.
You hardly see any police around anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I see them at the West End.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't hardly see. Well, you can't blame police for everything, but all these cars racing up and down the streets and acting crazy.
Yeah, I don't know that's necessarily police as much as it is policy. Move your mic closer. Your mic. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
I have friends of mine that are police chiefs, but there are different policing strategies. Just like there is a difference of how one person might run the Wadsworth Museum. I mean, you get two different people at the helm, and it makes a change. So it's not necessarily that the person is bad. It's just that the effectiveness that they can bring to bear may have been exhausted. So now you need new set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes. This is one reason why executive directors in organizations, whether they be nonprofits or other, change, so that you can get new perspectives and new vision. And sometimes the executive director obviously doesn't want to move on, but it's the responsibility of the board to make those kinds of decisions. And there are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration. If you have a long time executive director, they become the organization. Their name becomes synonymous with the organization.
Mm-hmm.
They almost become the organization's mascot. And they can hijack your organization. So you have to be constantly aware of that. There's actually, they call him the wolf in Kashmir. I can't think of his Arnott. I think his name is Arnott. I can't think of his name. He's not as present as like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, Trump, these billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick one. He's the world's richest man right now. And most people...
He's the world's richest man?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Worth. Arnott.
Okay.
He is... his wealth is like Gucci and Yves Saint. He has brands. But major labels, major labels and brands, fashion, entertainment, the Orient Express. I think he owns the Orient Express and several major hotel chains. You wouldn't know the things he's involved with. You've heard of, but you don't really know that he's involved with them because he's not focusing on himself. He focuses and runs his companies where the brand is the issue. He's building the brand. disassociating himself from the brand. Where others, Elon is like at the, if it's an Elon thing, it's all about Elon. He promotes his name, his self. And so that's a danger you can come in to with an organization. The leader becomes synonymous with the brand. Trump is now synonymous with the Republican Party. He's hijacked the party with his presence. And so as goes Trump, so goes the party. And that is a malfunction of party leadership that allowed that to happen.
That is a scary, scary thing. To me, that is a scary, scary thing. To realize that one man, all of the Republicans are scared of one man.
They're not scared of him. He allowed the Democrats are making a huge mistake because they're going to turn him into a living martyr. They're going to turn him into a living martyr. They should have left him alone when he got off the escalator. When he got off the escalator, that should have been the end of the story.
So what do you think is going to happen?
What do I think is going to happen? The RICO statute is not going to be enough to hold him, and he's going to be... I've said this stuff over and over again. Everyone, I've had these discussions with several people.
He's going to get out of this.
Absolutely. And the foolishness is, the election is like next November. It's not like this year. There's so much time between now and then that this is just going to be a platform from which to build. He doesn't even need to be on stage, and he will outdo everyone without ever doing anything. And they just don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. It's like jumping off of a cliff to grab the bird. To what is so focused on getting him that they with every action it's turned into a positive for him. So he's become the face, and he's hijacked the party. He's hijacked the brand. So the brand is no longer the GOP. The brand is now Trump. And so you need to switch those people out. So that's a long drawn out way of talking about a new chief. So I'm not saying that the chief is necessarily a bad human being. He just is, his time has come. All right. Education wise, I like the superintendent, but one of her biggest champions, who's here every Wednesday, Luis Delgado, Cacique, is saying that her time has come. She's been as effective as she can, and so now she can be effective somewhere else. It's you can only take a thing so far,
and then someone else.
Comes. It's like a runner.
So it's
in a relay race. You can only expect the runner to go so far, and then they get they can't run anymore. So you need someone else to carry the baton to the next level. There are many that are saying that the current Democratic nominee or endorsed candidate, I think they're not necessarily the nominee right now because there's an election to determine who the nominee will be. That's what the primary is all about. But the endorsed Democratic candidate for mayor in Hartford is to carry the baton of the current mayor so that all of those things can move on. So ultimately, the people that are being in this upcoming election on September 12th are trying to be handed the baton so they can move forward. Because the guy that's there, he run as far as he can go. He can't go no more. So he's going to stop. So who's going to carry the baton? So I think the police chief is a individual who has gone as far as he can go. I don't have any personal animus against Chief Thody. But the people who I represent in terms of interests and constituency, they don't like him. They want him gone. So
They never liked him.
right. I mean, I'm just keeping it real. But my job as in terms of the president of the Greater Hartford African American Alliance is not what I want, is what my constituents want.
I have a problem with good guy, bad guy. I have a problem with not seeing a situation where there's the good guys over here and the bad guys over here. I'm tired of that good guy, bad guy.
Yeah, it's never good guy, bad guy.
I would like to see, and I have not seen yet, just opposite opinions. Not that one person is an evil person and trying to destroy us, which I do a lot. Think that so and so is against the North End of Hartford, and they don't do anything for the North End of Hartford, and blah 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 blah. I don't really know the whole situation. I don't really know anything. All I know is I don't see anything over here. Mm-hmm. I don't want to think that way anymore, because I don't think that's a progressive. You get anywhere like that. At least I have not. I don't want to see an enemy. I don't want to see the devil and the angel. I just want to see people with different opinions, and then I could kind of get my opinion from what's happening and from what I'm reading, and not villainizing anybody. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking to people, someone is always villainized. Mm-hmm. And there's always a good guy and a bad guy. I don't want any more good guys and bad guys. I just want to know the facts and to make it a informed decision. And I don't, because when I see that person, you think of him or her as a horrible person, and they're not really horrible people. Not the way I'm thinking about it. I want to see them as someone that I have a different opinion than they have.
Mm-hmm. I think that I think that's absolutely right. Everyone is not an enemy. People have a way of turning everybody into an enemy. Yeah. Me or them. But when it comes to the way things are, I have where's my fake gold coin? Well, I have a silver dollar. I really want an actual gold coin. It's a chocolate.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Coin, I'm looking for a solid gold silver dollar so I can, I like drama. What can I say? Every coin has two sides. And the coin is the issue. But there's two sides to this coin. And and everybody's always going to go for their side. If you're the heads, you always want to come up. If you're the tails, you always want to come up. But without the head and the tail, you don't have a coin. You don't have an issue. So there's two sides to the issue. So how can we, how can both sides articulate their points of view, get their points of view across, and then determine what is in the best interest of those who they ultimately represent? And so everyone who's on the other side isn't evil. They just have a different opinion.
But the way we disperse news, and you're looking at the news, there's a good and an evil. The Trump story is a good or evil story when you're looking at MSNBC. I don't know. I don't look at Fox, but I'm sure it's not the same way if I was looking at Fox.
No, because the news media is a business and they sell advertising. And so they have to create ways to capture an audience and hold them long enough that the advertiser can reach them with the product, whether it's the news print, whether it's magazine, even if it's entertainment. Is it entertaining enough to hold the audience? Well, the news has a way of polarizing people because they don't talk about the middle. They talk about the extremes on both ends. And so you have a perfect mix. If you're sitting in a newsroom trying to figure out who's going to, how are we going to move the story along? So you've got Trump on one end and you've got Biden on the other end. And it's like if you take, a ruler with 12 inches and paint one red and paint one blue. And then you hype about the 1-inch side of the ruler, and the other side of the story is the 12-inch side of the ruler. Well, both the red ruler and the blue ruler have a 1-inch. There's very little difference between the 1-inch. They're just one is red, the other is blue, but they're both at 1 inch. And so what they do is they pit the red 1-inch against the blue 12-inch. And so they're always going to be polarized at extremes. The 1-inch over there is always trying to be nothing. Well, the 12-inch always thinks they're better than us. They're more than and this.
Yeah, they bring on these. I'm sick of these experts. They bring on these experts that say all of these things, and I'm sure Fox is bringing on their experts.
Absolutely.
That say all of their things. So where does that leave
the viewer? It leaves people confused or partially informed. They're not misinformed. They just don't have all the pieces of the story. So the person that wants to be informed goes and does a deeper dive. They will do the deep dive. They'll watch Fox News. They'll watch MSNBC. They'll listen to the British press. They'll listen to the German press and the Russian press. And they'll get different sides of the same story so that they can have a better understanding. And then there are those who then will go even the extra mile and actually talk to the individual or individuals involved or people that are in their orbit to be able to pull. That's what good journalism is. To pull out the whole story. All right. So you can't talk about flooding in Hartford without understanding there's a difference. Well, you can't talk about the flooding in Hartford and how it impacts the south end of Hartford and the north end of Hartford without understanding that it isn't flooding. It's sewage backup that comes as a result of flooding. See, everybody is not being impacted by sewage backup. A whole lot of people are impacted by flooding. But flooding is something we don't have control over. We have control over sewage backup. All right? A lot of the people who say they've been harmed by flooding have been harmed by flooding. But they haven't been harmed by sewage backup. And so, if you don't have all of the pieces of the information, it is hard to be able to understand what it is you're fighting for, what it is you're against, what you're for, and then it drops into the realm of emotion. Now it just becomes emotional. And once you get people emotional, it's like being your favorite team.
Well, that's what, when I look at MSNBC, that's what it is. It's just, on my part, total emotion, and
that's that way on the Fox side too. It's all emotional,
and they're trying to scare us to death. When I'm saying, I sit there and I say, they didn't get him on the impeachments. They didn't get him here. They didn't get him here. What makes them think they're going to get him now? And then I say, well, what is really? And then I see these Trump fans that's talking about, you people are crazy. He knows what he's blah, 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 blah. And you get totally confused because I'm listening to someone who is a demon. And then I'm listening to someone who I'm fairly close to saying, no, this is what's happening. Trump is right. Blah, 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 blah. So he's saying the demon is right. Well, and then they say, all of these things. And the viewer is, I think I agree with you with the with the Democrats, I think they're making a mistake.
Well, they're making a mistake because everyone is being played. If you want a master class in promoting and marketing,
go to Trump.
Just follow Trump. It's either the NFL or Trump. Maybe WWF. But they're being played. They're being played.
They could just stop talking about them, right?
Absolutely, but they won't because they're making money. See, the issue is one of greed. Greed, the love of money is the root of all evil. It's greed. See, so the question is, are people being loyal or are they greedy? What's the motivation? Loyalty or greed? Most things are motivated by greed. So people would say, well, you know what, XYZ person is too honest. So never make an honest. Well, I've heard this say about me. I like Stan, but Stan is too honest. Which is another way of saying, Stan ain't gonna put nothing in the hand. My hand is back there, Stan. I don't feel nothing. You know. So if somebody is getting funding for their senior center, then they're going to support the candidate that funds their senior center. See, it's a good thing the music's coming up because I can feel. I take a breath. I can feel all the stuff that I know trying to surface up and roll out, and I'm not trying to really go there. So now's a good time for us to take a music break.
Okay, Stan. If we need a break.
See, I wish I didn't know what I know. Then I would be much better off. But my point though is I have to collect myself. So the point is that there are a lot of people who have interests, and because their interests serve self, which is not a crime, they move toward the things that are going to move their interests forward. But at the heart of it, it's the attaining of stuff. You know, what's the profit of man to gain the whole world, lose his soul? Or the man that has his barn that's filled. Oh, look at that! I can take my ease and my leave. My barn is full. This, that, and the third. Well, thou fool, dost thou not know that thy life is required of thee on this day? As you die, you have nothing, and you leave nothing. And so we chase after things that are insignificant. Now, there are those who fight for champions and fight for people and put their own selves at risk to do so. Those are the unique and rare individuals who do those things. But they're not motivated by money or greed. They're more motivated by how can we help these people in plight. Soldiers do these kinds of things. Police officers do these things. Firemen do these kinds of things. First responders do these kinds of things. They rescue people who are in harm's way. You fly in a plane out in the middle of a hurricane to rescue somebody, or in a helicopter. You could lose your life. People that are in hospitals working with the very, very sick people who could lose their lives. They want to do good. They're not necessarily motivated by the greed. The hospital administrators, well, there's just a whole lot of greed up in there. They'll put the whole staff at risk to save a nickel on the dollar. You know, we'll recirculate the masks. Can't we get some new masks? I don't know if we don't want to pump the money into that right now. Why don't we wait and see if they're negatively impacted? So what motivates these people? Greed or loyalty? I don't know. I have an opinion, but I don't know. I don't know how we got on this. I think we were talking about selecting a new police chief.
Is that how we got?
I got lost in the weeds with one of my ongoing rambling analogies.
But it was interesting.
Yeah. But new chief, I would select a new chief by using the Democratic and Republican town committees, spokespeople. The spokespeople from the Democratic, Republican town committees, whoever the representative of the Green Party is. I don't mean Green Party, Working Families Party. and the leaders of the NRZs, because they each represent constituents. They have constituencies, and they represent the voices of Hartford, the varying voices that you talk about, the different opinions, and come to a consensus over 3 candidates. Three people that have been chosen.
I think that
those people would be my interviewers.
I think people this election, I think they're very confused. I think they have a lot of people don't have any idea of who to vote for. So I think that they're going to listen to whoever tells them to vote for who.
Well, that's the way it's traditionally been. There are bell cows, and the bell council, they'll lead folk, and they'll vote for who they.
So then certain people go after the leaders of the NRZs, or in the town committees, the leaders of the town committees, and they want them to do this and they want them to do that, and they're either going to be bought off or not bought off. But those are the leaders.
Well, they are, yeah.
Those are the leaders, and
well, greed or the people? Greed or the people?
Greed or the people? What do you want?
Yeah.
That's one end or another.
Mm-hmm.
Which end are you on? They're both extreme.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back. Let's take a short break. We'll listen to a little Jay Hogart, and we'll have a commercial. Then we'll be right back.
Hartford is run by the Democrat Party. It's a single-party town. And it would make no difference if it was a two-party town or if it was run by Republicans. All right? Anytime an organization runs a thing, the organization that manages or runs it wants to remain in power. When a political party runs the responsibility of governing your city, they're more concerned about remaining in power than they are concerned about providing needs for you, the constituent. It's your government, not the party's government. That's my only issue with the party. I'm a Democrat, all right? But I will never be embraced and accepted by the Democrat Party in theory because I'm not towing the party line. You understand what I'm saying? So the party needs someone to run for mayor. The mayor is an instrument, and he is a component of the machine that is city government. But he's less accountable to you and more accountable to the party, and the party has an apparatus by which to hold him accountable. The town committee, all right, and then the chairman of the party for the local municipality, and then the chairman of the state, and then and on and on and on, and the president and all that other stuff. And so the state committees, all right. So they want to vet you. So you run for some local office first and see if you can be trusted, this, that, the third. Can you be trusted to lie, cheat, steal, put out lies, take in cash? Can you be trusted to do that? If you can't, then we can bring you in. All right? But we always got to hold you at bay because the power is tight. The power is like an aphrodisiac. People like it. It's worse than cocaine. Right? They want the power. And once they get a taste of the power, they want to hold on to the power because the power is literally to give projects up or down. That's it. All right? But the power is not meant for that. The power is there to manage the system on behalf of you all, the residents. Okay? But when you as a constituent are not satisfied because there's people being murdered and it doesn't seem like anyone's giving it any attention, and you feel that your investigative agencies like the police department should be looking into these things, you then become a thorn in the side of the people who are supposed to be doing stuff. All right? Or you have a community review, like a civilian review board. And the civilian review board flags particular incidents that happen by police officers. But those incidents might be a liability to the city. So the city is crushing those things from going any further because if they do so, in theory, they will expose themselves to a liability and they can be sued for millions of dollars. So they never sees the light of day. So you, the constituent, who's supposed to be in charge of all of this, are kept in the dark. There's no transparency because they don't want you to know what's going on with your government because it is a threat to their power. So if you want any of that to change, you need to elect somebody who you can hold accountable as opposed to the party installing someone who is beholden and accountable to them. This is not rocket science. Very simple. Very, very simple. Very simple. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't have the capacity to hold accountable your elected official. They want you to think that way because then you accept the fact that you don't have accountability over it. But you didn't put them there. The party put them there. Understand? The party put them in office, not you. You think your votes put them there, but it didn't. It only takes 35 votes to get into the office of mayor. That's the town committee. If those 35 people come out and vote for them, they're in. They don't need you to come out. All right? And so you have the illusion of choice, the illusion of a modicum of control that you think you have, that you find that the rude awakening comes 3 weeks after they get in office. You get the old royal shaft. Because you didn't put them there. You understand? If you put them there, they would be beholden to you. If you put them there. As an elected representative of the people, you are beholden to the people, not the party. And that's why Hartford is in the shape it's in. Because your elected officials are beholden to the party.
Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Morning Talk. All right. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
I'll see how long they stay on the table.
Oh, we're back. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Do a little evaluation.
Yeah. that's interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, any plans for the weekend?
No, whatever comes up, and I know something's always coming up. So, and hopefully I'll have a few hours for me that I could do what I want to do without someone running behind me saying, Cleo, wait for me. You know, I could escape into. My escape this week was laundry.
Oh.
I went down to the laundry and I had my books and my pencils and, you know, and I had 3 hours of total peace. And reading and writing and doing my thing before I had to go back to Cleo. So I know you don't want to talk to me, Cleo. No, I don't want to talk to you. Please. Yeah. You gotta smile. You gotta smile.
We had all kinds of people joining us this morning. Bridget Prince, community advocate, journalist, and all around superhero for the people. Crime scene cleanups. Brother Calvin Lovejoy. Just to name a few. Big George. Judith. Different people.
So we were not alone, huh?
No, we're never alone. We're never alone.
Every time you say someone's watching, I get someone's really watching.
Someone's really watching. Yeah. You know, I've been doing this a long time. It's you never know if anybody's watching. Obviously, somebody's watching, but you just because you can't see them. And since we broadcast live, the live real-time audience is never indicative of everybody that sees. Because sometimes people watch with other people. And then, of course, we are on so many different platforms. You know, so we're on several Facebook pages, and then people share the program on Facebook. But we're also on Twitter, now X. We're on Twitch, LinkedIn, Pinterest.
What?
Pinterest. Pinterest is one of the old ones. Old legacy one. We're not on. I mean, there's a whole lot we could be on. But my theory is if you're on, you have to have a presence, and then you gotta manage that presence. And already it's kind of difficult managing all of it. But I say all that to say that you just don't know who's watching or where, because I can't monitor everything. And then, of course, it's on demand, so people can watch it now, from now until, and tune in to the rest of the day and at night and next week and all that other stuff. So, you know, once I go off the air, I don't even look at the programs. They just happen in real time, and then we move on. So I don't watch old programs or anything like that. I've never done that.
No, I don't watch old programs.
No. Sometimes clients are mad at me. That's not sometimes. Only once was a client mad at me because I sent them something and the sound was all messed up. And he said, Did you watch this? I did not. Well, next time you might want to. So I looked at it, sound was all jacked up. It was bad. And I didn't watch. I just rendered it, edited it. I rendered it, and then once it was rendered, I sent it. Because after you're so used to, I could fix it, yeah. But there's no reason. It's unacceptable for a client to get anything other than the best. Yeah. My very first client, when I started doing this, I've always done it professionally, but I never really had clients. So once I started doing what I do now, for people, for clients. I sent a project to somebody, and it was like what we refer to as an offline edit. And he called me, and I was surprised how fast he called. He must have looked at it as soon as I sent it. And he called. Of course, I'm all, waiting to hear the good response. You know. He says, "What is this I'm looking at?" I says, "It's the project." He says, "It doesn't look complete." I said, "Well, it isn't. It's conceptual. It's it's kind of like where we're heading." He says, "We're way beyond that. Way beyond that. In the future, don't send me anything that you don't believe is ready for broadcast." Is that going to be a problem? I said, "No, sir. Not at all. No. Click." So I finished it and sent it back. He was very pleased.
So you were just sending him something that said, this is how it may be.
It was, it wasn't an all-in effort, and so it was incomplete, but that's quite common. You wouldn't send somebody the whole thing done because they will likely want things changed. So you send them, concept. But I mean, it was more robust than just concept. But there were things that just weren't tight. And he didn't want to be bothered watching all kinds of stuff. So, the idea is that you were retained to do what I think you can do. I'm not going to micromanage you. Put something together that looks good, that I will, that I can say yes or no. But I can't say yes because it's not done. And so that's how that client rolls. I'm good. I'm not argue with the client ever. Client's always right. Period. There's no such thing as the client doesn't have it together.
Well, I had a client one time, and I finished everything, and I gave her everything before I was paid, and was promised to do a summer program.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is she paid me for what I did, and she took my program and hired someone else to do my program. And I never did that. I never gave anybody a program again. And I think I said to one person who wanted to hire me to do a program, I said, "I'll do the program, but I will not give you the program.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the program, but I won't give you." And she didn't call me back, and that was all right, because you know how foolish I felt when I went through all that work, did all that work, hours of work and hours and put it on paper, which is not the easiest thing for me to do because I work in my head.
Mm-hmm.
To put it on paper and then to have someone just take it and hire someone to do it.
Well, that's a valuable lesson.
That was a very valuable lesson. I never ever worked for that person again.
Mm-hmm.
And she also paid me less. She sent out a check that was not agreed upon. It was not signed. We signed a contract, and she paid me less. And I had the check sent back to her. And when she came out, I just looked at her and I said, "You know what? I will be paid for what I've done, and I will be paid today." And I looked at her at I was ready to jump on her, but I did not. I just said, and she kept talking, and I kept saying, "I will be paid today." day.
Mm.
And so she went in her office and she wrote me a check. I don't know if she thought I was going to jump on her. Not I wasn't going to jump on her, but I felt so used.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so used. I did everything I said I would do. I did everything I said I would do, plus. And that's what they were going to do to me. It happened, to that extent, it happened only that time.
Mm.
You know, and I never was that. I was so glad that she called me. I was so glad to get the job. You know how you're so glad to get the job. You just do anything. You put your all out because you haven't had a job like this in a long time.
Mm.
And to have someone use you like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the quote unquote client from hell. So yeah, I've only had a handful of those. I if I had 4 of them in my life, I'm cantankerous. So I won't anyone I don't do, but anyone can't be my client. So I'm very picky in terms of who I will do work for.
How do you define evil?
For who?
And you really do have to be.
Yeah.
You really do have to be.
Very discriminating, I guess, you could say by definition. Yeah. I remember when one of my very first client, this was a wedding. And this was many, many, many years ago. And I hadn't done very many weddings at that time. But they asked me for the raw footage, which, of course, you never give to anybody. And she said, well, we'd like to have the raw footage. I says, well, no one gives raw footage. Photographers don't give you the film. I mean, no one's going to give you the raw footage. You can, Yeah, but we're really insisting on having the raw footage. I says, well, no professional videographer or photographer is going to give you the raw footage. They said, well, that's why we hired you. So I says, you know what? So I gave them the footage. I gave them their money back. And I says, you all have a good day. Oh, what do you mean? Like, no, we're good. We're good. In fact, I don't like getting paid in advance. I never get paid in advance. Very rare. That will upset me. Every once in a while, I get a client who pays me in full in advance, and I don't like that because then now I'm really obligated. I always bill clients. I'll invoice you when we're done on the agreed upon price, because I walk. I've done it. I'll walk in a heartbeat.
I've never done.
I will absolutely. So. If folk get it jacked up and off the chain, no. And I will give people their money back.
Well,
I'll give people their money back. I've only had that happen like 4 times.
I've done storytellings that I didn't get at the end of the storytelling with contract, saying, we really don't have the money. Could you just take such and such and such and such? I've had that a few times. At the end of it, do not want to pay me. So I have to get something up front, depending on who I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. And then I'll get the rest. Because I don't charge so much money that it would pay me to go get a lawyer. I'd have to pay him more than they had to pay me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get something up. I get what I think I put into it up front.
And see, I don't like getting paid in advance. Sometimes people insist on it, but I always invoice, and I don't do. I've only signed twice a contract. In all my years, I've only signed maybe 2 contracts. I don't. My word is my bond. If I say I will be there, I will be there. I've never ever not shown up on a shoot.
Oh, see, I don't sign a contract because I won't show up. I sign a contract so I can't assure myself
That you get paid.
that I get paid, because I worked for a daycare center here in Hartford many years ago. At the end of it, was not paid. So no, I do the best I can to get paid, depending, like I say, depending on who I'm working for. If I'm working outside of, well, I'll say this much: if I'm working outside of the city of Hartford, I am more likely not to worry too much about it, because I've never had a problem. If I'm working within Hartford, then I worry whether I'll get paid. Because and I get comments. Anybody could tell a story, you know.
Well, then why didn't you hire anybody?
Right,
you hired me,
you know,
right?
or I'll be coming in. Why are they paying? Now, this is a church who hired me, and someone said to me, "Why don't you just do it for the Lord?" And I said, "Do you pay your minister?"
That's always a fun one, you know.
Just do it for the Lord. And I said, I'm doing all this work. I mean, the average storytelling, if you're doing it with a mixed crowd, from a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to grandma or granddad, you got an hour there. You got you need to keep the children entertained, the teenagers entertained, and the adults fairly entertained. That takes a variety of things that you're gonna do, and a variety of things that you can change to if what you did is not working. You know, you see, if you're gonna lose your audience, if you see your audience kind of drifting, you've got to have something in your head to bring them back, you know. And then at the end of this, you're not going to pay me. That's
the workman is, you know, muzzle not the ox that treadeth the corn. Workman is worthy of their wage. Now we went. Yeah, I love that. Well, won't you want to? Why you should be a blessing to the Lord and come and do this for us. Now I took my stage company back in the days when we used to spend our summers making movies or stage plays, instead of running for office. We took our stage company down New Haven, I think it was. I think it was New Haven, not Bridgeport. And we rented a bus, took all the equipment down, you know, one of our plays. I don't know whether it was, I don't think it was The Door. I think it was the Church of the Three Crosses, like one of our musicals. And there's like 20 people in the production. And we didn't necessarily charge people. We had a fee, but we weren't doing this for the money. And but they had promised us they were going to they were going to feed us. And so we went to, we did the production, we left, and they had a restaurant, it was very interesting. They had a table all laid out, this, that, and the third, and we all got off the bus and we went into the little restaurant, and we're all sitting in there, and then they came and they said, well, the meal was going to be $5 per person. I said, oh, wait. I said, yeah. It's $5, just a nominal fee. That was not the deal. You said you were going to feed us. They said, well, we got to, pay for the food. I says, indeed you do. I said, everybody Get up. Huh? Get up. We are leaving. Oh, Pastor McCauley, I didn't mean to offend you. You way beyond offending me. Let's go, everybody. Up. Come on. Let's go. We went left out there, and I took them out to eat in a restaurant.
Did you ever hear from him again?
Never. Didn't matter to me. Don't tell me something and then don't and do the opposite. Not if a deal is a deal. I didn't compel you to make the deal. They this, that, and the third. In fact, I think they were saying we can't pay you to come, but we would love for you to be a blessing. And so they were gonna bless us with dinner.
And they couldn't pay you.
Oh, I'm not. We don't do this. Our stage company never did stuff for money. I don't know whether this is good or bad, but we went to Ohio, Columbus, I think it was, Ohio, to do a show, a play, The Door, our signature play, and 2 people turned out. One of which was my aunt. Now, we weren't promoting. The promoter failed miserably. But we went all the way Ohio. Only 2 people were in the audience. And we drove out there, and then we drove back. We did a round trip. We didn't even spend the night. We went out, sat up, did the play, and we came back home.
That must have been
and that was a minute. We had a lot of fun.
That was a disappointment, though, that audience.
Well, the audience was a disappointment, but if there's one person in the audience, then that's one person who will be ministered to. Because we did those things. We did our productions our productions were ministry. They weren't, we didn't do them because we were in it for the money. That was our production company. The money, we were never motivated by the money. A lot of people have a problem with that because, of course, they are motivated by money. But the act of doing, giving, you can't outgive. As they say, you can't outgive God. So
I was doing a storytelling at Emmanuel Church one time. It was a sort of a workshop storytelling time, and I told him my price. I wanted to get paid. I don't know how much. And Gertrude Blanks was also doing stories at that time, and she was and she was not getting paid. She was getting nothing, and I was not going to be paid if Gertrude Blanks was not going to be paid. I'm not going to be paid. I couldn't see how I could be paid for storytelling, and Gertrude Blanks not be paid. So therefore, I said no. I will not be paid. I'll do this. And I was so mad at Gertrude. I said, why didn't she ask for at least a nominal fee? And she was doing it for
a stipend, anything.
Anything.
A cup of water.
Yeah. But to have her there to do storytelling, the senior storyteller, and me telling story, getting paid, I just could not see that. I said, oh, no, we can't do this. I cannot get paid if she doesn't get paid. So that was one that I didn't willingly not get paid, but I couldn't get paid if she wasn't.
No, the doing is what makes it so much fun, doing it. And
well, that's
giving. If you like to give, then, there's a time that you get paid and a time that you give. Now, if they're charging people to come hear you, that's a little bit different. And if there's a budget, because a lot of times people have budgets for things. They got this fund or that fund to pay for, and then you come and you do it for free. And it's not that they're, trust me, when they fill out that paperwork and send it back, you will have got paid. Yeah. Even though you left there with no money, but your money is in their pocket.
Is that how? Because I went to some senior
Some
centers.
of these folks is as shady and underhanded and criminal as you can imagine.
And I said, no. I said, you don't know me, I'll do this first storytelling free. And so I because they said they had a budget for that, so I did it free, and I had people come and.
No. If the budget is, if there's a budget for the project, and you are the draw for the project,
you need to get paid.
Then you absolutely need to get paid, because that has to be part of the process and part of the budget. And a lot of times, doers of good deeds are in that, the good deed mode, and they don't get paid. And so it took me a long time before I came to a place where I would actually charge people for stuff. Now, I don't have a problem now, but it took me many years to get out of that sense of, well, I shouldn't do this for money, But you have to eat, and there's nothing wrong with being compensated for your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
now I tell all people, even if you waive the fee, you have to charge people, because if you don't charge people, it's worthless. It has no value because you didn't charge. There's no value associated. So what you do is worthless. So you have to charge, and you charge market rate, and then you get discount all the way down to a gift. Make sure they get a receipt that says always zeroed out gift or whatever, but you have to put value to your work. If you don't value your work, then others won't value it, and they will exploit what you have for all they can in order to take what you have and give it
they
to.
Do take.
And so there's a lot of takers out there. Lots of takers. I've seen gospel events where church folk run off with the money, and while congregations is sitting up in there, I've seen gospel performers not get paid. There's just, because unscrupulous people are everywhere. So you just have to be careful that you're not taken advantage of, because there's plenty of folk out there that will.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, they always make the fatal mistake. It generally doesn't catch up to them for a while, but they always make the fatal mistake that kind people are unaware of what they're doing. And they're not unaware. They're just good, kind people. But the day comes when you have to give an account for all that wickedness.
That's right.
We're out of time.
Okay.
You gonna have a good weekend?
I'm gonna have a wonderful weekend.
All right. Anything planned special?
Nope, not planned. Just take it easy. Don't get my blood pressure up, and just enjoy the weekend. And try to get some separate time for me. That's my plan. Oh, and I just want to tell you before we go off, my appointment that I had last Friday, I told you about, Doctor. It was exactly what I thought. I left out of there feeling like terrible. Terrible. I can't tell you how terrible I felt by the time I got out of that office. So, and now I'm on punishment. I'm on punishment now. I have to, instead of seeing, he says I was going to see you in 2 weeks. Now, no, I was going to see you in a month, but now you got to come back in 2 weeks. I said, oh, all right. But I stood up for myself a little bit this time. But I felt good about standing up for myself.
Good.
This time.
All right. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.